Hey there, it's Tricia, and I want to go over a couple things from Wednesday, September 30th that you might find helpful. And we use two setups off of three charts with indicators for a conservative approach to trading the S&P Emini. And if you wanted to get information on those setups, you can go to www.easyemintrade.com. I've been getting some questions about the trendline breaks, so I thought I would just quickly go over that a little bit with you, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. So yesterday morning, Wednesday, the 30th of September, we had consumer confidence at 9:45, and that's what initiated this big move down, and it moved really quickly, and there really wasn't any place to get on board. We did have a squeeze setting up in this general area here, but quite frankly, after a move like this down, I'm going to need a little bit of a bounce or a little bit of sideways consolidation before I'm willing to jump on short. So with that said, you can start your trend lines, and if you're using automatic trend lines, I would encourage you to make sure before taking an entry that you make sure that your trend line is touching either the tops of 3 bars or the bottoms of 3 bars. 3 bars is my criteria. It doesn't have to be yours, but I like to see at least the highs, like in this example, at least the highs of 3 bars being touched in order for me to count it as a valid trend line, in which then I would be willing to take an entry. So I draw my trend line from this high here. It's touching here, it's touching here, it's touching here, it's touching here. So obviously we have our 3 touches. So when we get a close above the trend line, then you would look to enter in, for me, on the next bar. So here's the setup bar right here, and I would put an order in for half a point above that bar, looking to get in. You don't have to use half a point. Half a point has been working out pretty well, because a quarter sometimes will get you into something that you wind up unfortunately not wanting to be in after you're in, but that half a point really saves some headache, in my opinion. Again, just my opinion and how I like to do it. So we get a close above the trend line here, but this bar never initiates our entry. So then what you have to do is now you have to move your trend line. So when you move it, you're going to now move it to the highs of those bars. Okay, so do we still have our 3 touches? We do. Here, here, and here. So we're still okay. So it's still a valid trend line. So now we get a close above the trend line again. Then you would look for your entry above this bar here. Now, knowing that the moving average typically will give us an area of stall or a pullback, you know that going in. So so you're aware of where you need to set your initial profit targets and so forth. And the same on the way down, except now we're looking for a break of the trend line down after a move up, so you can take a short. And of course we still want our indicator here to be in line for whatever direction we're taking. So for this long here, you're fine. If your entry gets taken, you're in line for a long here. On the way down, start with the lows of these price bars, and you need to get 3 touches. So you start your line, and you're touching here, you're touching here. These, you're close, but obviously you're not touching. As price is going, so let's say we start our trend line here, and let's say it's going here. I know I'm kind of slicing through here, but I just want to make a point. So we've started our trend line. Now let's say price pulls back to our trend line. Great, we got another touch, so we're thinking, oh great, we're going to get a close below it on this bar. It never closes below the trend line on this bar. So now you have to adjust your trend line to encompass the bottom of that bar. So now you've got your touches still. So now the actual valid entry would be, here's the close below the trend line, and you enter in on the next bar. So let's say that this bar looks like, okay, great, it's going to close below this trend line. I don't take the entry until the actual bar closes. I don't take it when it touches the trend line. I take it when it actually closes, because this could easily, turn into, a bottoming tail and close above that trend line. So then what you would have to do is then you'd have to adjust your trend line again. So keeping all that in mind, again, on the way down, we know our moving average is right below us again, and that could be an issue in way of getting a stall or a bounce. So once in, you would adjust your profit targets to at least have something off the table by the time that you get to that area, in the event that you do get a stall or you do get a bounce. So I hope that helps. Again, I want to point out that for me, I require 3 touches in order for it to be a valid trend line break. And if you are using an automatic trend line indicator on any of your platforms, just make sure that you're getting 3 touches, because oftentimes it's drawing a trend line and it's only touching 2 bars, so you just need to be careful of that, in my opinion. So I sure hope that helps, and I will see you guys later.